Hi, I'm Diana. 3 years after losing my mom to cancer, my world turned upside down. I was 16, clinging to the memories of my mom while watching my dad, Jack, fall for Regina, a bakery owner who seemed as sweet as her cupcakes. She'll be good for us, Diana. We need to move forward, Dad said, announcing their engagement. I wanted to believe him, but something about Regina felt off. Your father tells me you love art. I'd love to see your work sometime, Regina said during our first dinner together. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Then came Macy, Regina's daughter. Nice room. Guess we'll have to share since Mom wants me close to her, she said, dumping her designer bags on my floor like she owned the place. I found refuge at the Silverling Gallery after school, where I worked arranging displays. Your eye for detail is remarkable, my boss would say. At least someone appreciated my passion. Patsy, darling, could you help out at the bakery this weekend? Just a few hours, Regina asked one Friday. Those few hours turned into every weekend. Then after school too. No pay, just family duty. But I have my gallery job, I protested. Family comes first, sweetheart. Besides, your little art hobby can wait, Regina said. Mrs. Chen, our elderly neighbor, always seemed to be watering her plants when drama unfolded. Young girl, I see everything from my window, she said one afternoon. Your stepmother reminds me of someone I once knew. Be careful. Even my best friend Lisa noticed the changes. She's all sweet when your dad's around. But I see how she looks at you when he turns away, Lisa whispered over lunch. She made me quit my gallery job, I confided. Says I need to focus on learning the bakery business. She's trying to control everything about you, Lisa said, her eyes narrowing. My art teacher, Miss Thompson, became my sanctuary. Your latest piece shows such raw emotion, Diana. Are you okay? She asked. I'm fine, I lied, while Regina's Instagram portrayed a perfect blended family. #blessed, #family first, #stepmom life. Look how many likes our family photo got. Regina beamed at dinner. Patsy, next time wear something more presentable and smile more. Dad was barely home, always traveling for work. Regina's doing her best, he'd say during our brief phone calls. Give her a chance. But how could I, when she was erasing everything that made me me, my art, my job, my space? Everything had to fit her perfect family narrative. Remember, Macy whispered one night, her voice like a dagger, Mom always gets what she wants. Always. The way she said it sent chills down my spine. Little did I know, the nightmare was only beginning. With Dad taking more business trips, Regina stopped pretending. Her true colors bullied through. Look at Macy's perfect grades. Why can't you be more like her? She'd snap during dinner, while Macy smirked behind her phone. My art portfolio for college was due, but Regina ensured I had no time to work on it. Art won't pay the bills, Patsy. Look at your father. He works in the real world. Then came her birthday. It was an obsession, a social media spectacle. I want you to bake my cake. It needs to look exactly like this. She shoved a magazine photo of an impossibly intricate 4-tier cake into my hands. But I've never made anything that elaborate, I said, my voice trembling. Are you saying you're not capable, after all the time you've spent in my bakery? Regina's eyes glinted with a dangerous malice I'd come to fear. Determined not to fail, I spent hours in the kitchen. The counters were a disaster, powdered sugar coated my hair, and the cake, it just wasn't working. By the time the 3rd tier collapsed, I felt like collapsing too. Regina stormed in, her heels clicking sharply on the tile. You stupid, worthless girl. You're ruining everything. Before I could respond, she grabbed the iron she'd been using for her party dress, still hot and glowing. Let me teach you what happens to failures in this house. The searing pain when she pressed it against my arm was unbearable. I screamed, begging her to stop, but her grip didn't loosen. Maybe this will help you remember to do things right, she hissed, pressing harder. What neither of us realized was that Macy stood in the doorway, phone in hand, recording the entire scene. I caught a glimpse of her sliding away silently as my vision blurred with tears. Later that night, I sat on the porch, tears streaming down my face as I clumsily tried to bandage the burns. Mrs. Chen appeared out of nowhere, her concerned face illuminated by the porch light. Come with me, child. I have burn cream, she said, her hands trembling as she treated my wounds. This cannot continue. A car pulled up just then. A man stepped out, tall and commanding, his face a sharper, older version of Macy's. "I'm Derek, Regina's ex-husband," he said. "I've been watching her. I know what she's capable of." "Why are you here?" I asked, my voice barely audible. "Macy called me. She's scared too, Patsy. Regina has a history of this. That's why I fought for custody years ago, but she's good at hiding the evidence." That night, with my arm throbbing under makeshift bandages, I poured my emotions into a new art piece. The portrait was haunting, a smiling woman with flames for hands. When Miss Thompson saw it the next day, she gasped, "Diana, this is powerful. Are you trying to tell me something?" I tugged my sleeves down tighter. "It's just art," I lied, but we both knew it was more than that. My bruises might have been hidden, but my art screamed the truth I couldn't say out loud. "Document everything," Derek had said before leaving. "Your time for justice will come." That night, as Regina posted pictures of her store-bought birthday cake on Instagram, #perfect birthday, #blessedmother, I stared at the cracks beginning to show in her perfect facade. The truth started leaking out during art class. My sleeve rode up as I reached for a brush, exposing the burn. "Oh my God, what happened to your arm?" Miss Thompson asked, grabbing my wrist gently. I had an accident with the stove," I stammered. "That's not a stove burn, Diana. I used to volunteer at a women's shelter. I know what I'm looking at." That same afternoon, Derek showed up at school. "Your dad needs to know the truth about Regina. Years ago, she lost custody of Macy after incidents. I have court documents to prove it." "Then why is Macy with her now?" I asked. "She manipulated the system. Promised Macy everything she wanted. But it's all falling apart." At the bakery, things were unraveling. Regina was more focused on controlling me than managing her business. "You can't fire me just because your stepdaughter messed up an order," Sarah, a longtime employee, yelled. "I can do whatever I want. Get out. Every one of you is replaceable." Regina screamed as Sarah and 2 others walked out. Meanwhile, Macy started leaving her phone around, quietly recording her mother's tirades. "Mom, maybe you should calm down," she'd suggest sweetly, handling the camera just right. "Don't tell me how to run my house." Regina would snap, oblivious to being documented. I tried to tell Dad during his rare calls. "Dad, Regina's not what you think." She burned me. "Stop making up stories, Diana," he interrupted. "Regina says you're acting out because you miss your mom. You need to stop seeking attention." Mrs. Chen arrived at our door one evening, holding a thick notebook. "I write everything I see, the screaming, the injuries, the employees leaving. Your father needs this when he's ready to see the truth." Regina's perfect social media world was crumbling. Her latest post about family dinner was bombarded with comments. Ask her about her bakery's turnover rate. Wonder if she burns her employees like she burns her stepdaughter. Regina went ballistic, deleting comments as fast as they appeared. "They're all lying. They're jealous of our perfect life." Macy cornered me in our room that night, her face pale but determined. "I have videos, Diana. Lots of them," she confessed, voice trembling. "Mom, she did the same things to me when I was younger. That's why Dad left." "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked, feeling both betrayed and heartbroken. "Because I thought if I played along, stayed her perfect daughter, she wouldn't hurt me again. I was wrong. She just found a new target." The next weeks were chaos. The bakery's reviews plummeted. Worst management ever. Owner too busy terrorizing her family to run a business. Regina's rage grew with every bad review. "This is your fault," she screamed, her face twisted with fury. "You've turned everyone against me." But for the first time, I wasn't scared. Unlike before, I wasn't alone. Mrs. Chen was watching. Miss Thompson was watching. Derek was investigating. And Macy was recording everything. "Your perfect family is falling apart," I said, my voice steady. "And you did this to yourself." The look in her eyes told me I'd pay for that comment, but this time I was ready. We all were. Everything unraveled faster than one of Regina's overpriced cakes. Dad called in a panic after receiving an anonymous video compilation. "Is this real, Patsy? Why didn't you tell me?" "I tried, Dad, but she always convinced you I was lying." The health department raided the bakery after anonymous tips. They found expired ingredients, rat droppings, and falsified inspection documents. Regina's Instagram perfect life imploded as #ReginaTheAbuser trended. Her followers watched her meltdown in real time. "You ungrateful brats. I gave you everything," she screamed in one video. "You gave us trauma," Macy replied calmly. Dad filed for divorce the same day. Regina was arrested for child abuse. The evidence was overwhelming. Mrs. Chen's meticulous diary, teacher testimonies, medical records of my burns, and Macy's videos. 5 years flew by. I graduated from art school with honors, and the opening night of my gallery, Phoenix Rising, Art of Survival, drew hundreds of people. Meanwhile, Regina worked the register at a gas station, her designer clothes replaced by a polyester uniform. Her bakery was gone, replaced by a thriving cooperative owned by her former employees. "Your work is changing lives," a young girl told me at the gallery. It helped me speak up about my own abuse. In that moment, I knew everything I endured had a purpose. My art had become a voice for those still trapped in silence. Last I heard, Regina tried opening a home bakery, but her reputation followed her. No one wanted cakes from the woman whose abuse went viral. I looked around at my success, the gallery, my healing, my chosen family, and realized Regina had given me one thing: the fuel to rise above her flames. And Regina, she's exactly where she deserves to be, alone, watching through a gas station window as her victims thrive without her. But here's the lingering question: is forgiveness truly necessary for healing? I refused to forgive Regina. Even as she lost everything, I succeeded, healed, and built a beautiful life. Forgiveness wasn't part of my journey, and yet, I found peace. What's your take? Should survivors feel pressured to forgive their abusers to complete their healing? Or is it enough to simply let go and move forward?